Right this very minute, an unseen influence, a dedicated spirit of light, is urgently trying to get a message to you. What's truly amazing is that you haven't realized it yet. The insights I'm about to share won't just challenge how you view life and the afterlife. They will also make you aware of a deeper, multi-dimensional existence that has been active around you, completely unnoticed. Pioneers such as Allan Kardec precisely documented these interactions over 150 years ago. Chico Xavier, arguably the greatest medium ever, provided evidence with over 400 books he transmitted straight from the spirit world. Furthermore, Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, corroborated this through countless psychic readings that defy conventional physical explanation. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start. Have you ever sensed an unexplainable presence nearby? That feeling of not being solitary even when you are? Or perhaps you've had extremely clear, realistic dreams involving loved ones who have passed on, leaving a deep impression when you wake up. If you answered yes, then get ready, because what you are about to learn will not only affirm those occurrences, but will also provide the means to comprehend and enhance them. In the following segment, I will unveil the 3 most frequent and strongest signs that your spiritual mentors employ to breach the partition and connect with you personally. I will also detail an incredible account of a message received by Chico Xavier, one that fundamentally altered a family's life and served as unquestionable proof of the next life. Most critically, I will share the exact method taught by Allan Kardec. This is a reliable way to identify, with absolute certainty, when the invisible realm is attempting to communicate. But before we proceed, you need to internalize a truth that will completely shatter your current worldview. Your assigned celestial guardian, get ready for a revelation that will truly astound you. As disclosed in the landmark work, The Spirit's Book, specifically question 459, Allan Kardec revealed that from the very moment of birth, every person is assigned at least one protective spirit. This isn't just a minor entity, it's a higher being of light, a celestial guardian who accompanies you persistently throughout your entire time on Earth. Their assignment is far from insignificant. It is critically important. Their purpose is to assist your soul's progress, encourage you toward your greatest potential, and most importantly, shield you from dangers and pitfalls your restricted human mind cannot even imagine. Yet here lies the unfortunate reality, a largely unknown truth that keeps people disconnected. The vast majority of people go through their whole lives completely unaware of this divine partnership. It's like having a phone that rings constantly with urgent, life-changing messages, but you never answer because you don't realize the call is meant for you. Chico Xavier, the most remarkable medium Brazil has ever known, psychographed clear and unmistakable messages from these spiritual guides for 60 years. In the book, Nosso Lar, Our Home, the spirit André Luiz vividly recounts how, from the spiritual dimension, these beings watch over their human charges tirelessly, dispatching inspirations that can reroute your destiny, warnings that can prevent disaster, and comfort that can heal the most profound sorrow. But hold on, because the next segment, covering the 3 primary ways these entities try to communicate, is going to blow your mind. The 3 key signs of spiritual communication. The initial sign, which is the most subtle yet unbelievably potent method our spiritual counselors use to influence your world, involves sudden, uninvited thoughts. Consider this. Have you ever been on the verge of a major choice, entirely committed to one course of action, when out of the blue, a completely contradictory idea, a powerful flash of insight, enters your mind, making you pause and rethink everything? Edgar Cayce, across thousands of his readings, explained that our guides primarily work through intuitive promptings, seeding inherently helpful notions into your consciousness, especially when you are open to receiving them. Allan Kardec, in Chapter 19 of the Medium's book, expands on this, clarifying that higher spirits choose to influence our thought process gently, never overriding our free will. They understand with boundless wisdom that direct coercion would not genuinely support your moral and spiritual development. But now, here is something that will forever change how you view your dreams. The second, and one of the most common and direct methods of spiritual communication, happens while you are experiencing nightly rest. As you sleep, your soul partially separates from your physical body, shedding earthly constraints and enabling much smoother contact with other realms of reality. Divaldo Franco, in his lectures on spiritual psychology, explains that during the sleep state, your perispirit, the semi-material body linking your soul to your physical form, gains an expanded freedom to receive direct advice from the spiritual world. This is why countless individuals experience startlingly vivid dreams involving relatives who have passed away. These are dreams that convey messages of serenity, affection, and invaluable direction. Now get ready, because I am going to recount a true event, an indisputable story authenticated by Chico Xavier himself, that will move you to your core. In 1979, a mother drowning in intense grief sought out Chico Xavier. Her son had been tragically taken from her in a car accident. For months, this distressed mother had repeated dreams where her son insisted he was fine and urged her not to suffer. But she, consumed by pain, dismissed them as mere figments of her tormented imagination. But what occurred next? What this woman witnessed defies all physical reasoning and will make you reevaluate everything you think you know about life and death. During a séance, the young man's spirit manifested through Chico Xavier. He did not simply transmit a message. He disclosed details so precise and private that only he, the departed son, could have known. These details included where he had hidden a private love letter before his passing. He gave the exact serial number of a watch he had bought as a surprise for his girlfriend. Most remarkably, he conveyed a specific message meant only for his best friend, a message only the two of them would grasp. The astonished family verified every single detail. All of them, without exception, were frighteningly accurate. Yet the most profound realization was still to come. The spirit clarified that he had been visiting his mother in dreams for months, relentlessly trying to comfort her and prepare her for this more immediate, concrete communication. What she had dismissed as mere wishful thinking, a reaction to her sorrow, was in reality the truest form of devotion, a love that overcomes the divide of physical demise. In just 3 minutes, I will uncover the third sign, one so deeply woven into the fabric of your daily existence that you overlook it all the time. But first, you must grasp a fundamental point regarding the nature of these transmissions. Why the signs are subtle. Allan Kardec, driven by an endless curiosity, posed a vital question to the higher spirits. Why don't they communicate with us, the embodied in a clearer, more undeniable manner? The response, documented in question 282 of the Spirit's book, was an insight that demands deep contemplation. If we assisted you overtly and without cease, you would fail to develop your own inner resources. Moreover, the constant display of our might would eliminate your autonomy, as you would always be acting under duress. This isn't arbitrary. It is a demonstration of boundless foresight. Your spiritual guides operate with exquisite subtlety, helping you without ever disrupting your necessary journey of learning and growth. Picture a devoted parent teaching a child to walk. They prevent life-threatening falls, certainly, but they allow the child to stumble as many times as needed so that the child can cultivate their own coordination and inherent strength. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, verified this exact teaching across thousands of his psychic sessions. He clarified that every soul has specific, assigned guides who are perfectly matched to its karmic requirements and current level of spiritual advancement. These enlightened entities don't just attend to you. They possess complete knowledge of your life blueprint, your outstanding lessons, and the precise hurdles you must conquer for further development. Prepare yourself now, because the third signal is about to make you re-examine every single coincidence you've ever had. Here is the third most astonishing sign, the one that will make you view your life through a new lens. Your spiritual mentors orchestrate synchronistic events. The power of synchronicity. What are these? They are those seemingly chance occurrences, those flawless accidents that materialize at the precise moment to assist you, shield you, or impart a crucial lesson. Have you ever desperately needed a piece of information only to stumble upon it in an unlikely place, right when the need was greatest? Or perhaps you met the exact right person, the one who holds the key to your next step, at the perfect time. Or maybe your plans were inexplicably derailed, and you later found out that the cancellation prevented an impending disaster. These, my friend, are not random occurrences. They are direct, loving interventions from beings who care for you without condition and who operate from a higher dimension. Chico Xavier was given countless messages from the Spirit Emmanuel, who described how these meetings and situations in your life are painstakingly coordinated from the spiritual plane. In the book, The Consoler, Emmanuel discloses that an entire spiritual organization labors non-stop to create chances for growth and protection for us, the incarnated. But here is the truth that holds the power to transform your life permanently. Once you start acknowledging these indicators, and once you begin to express gratitude for the presence of your spiritual guides, the communication becomes more regular, distinct, and unmistakable. Allan Kardec taught that belief and thankfulness are not merely emotions. They function as powerful antennae that boost your ability to receive spiritual direction. Divaldo Franco, a world-renowned medium and spiritualist speaker, explains that consciously recognizing your spiritual guides fundamentally alters your relationship with life. You cease feeling isolated or forsaken and instead grasp that you belong to an everlasting spiritual family, one that loves, supports, and continuously encourages you. Guides across lifetimes, I am going to reveal something documented by Edgar Cayce that perfectly supplements the spiritualist teachings, providing them with stunning depth. In his readings, Cayce explained that our spiritual counselors don't just attend to us in this one lifetime. They have been with us across numerous previous incarnations. These are beings who have advanced far past our current stage and who have elected, out of love and wisdom, to aid us in our personal journey of spiritual refinement. This implies that your bond with your spiritual guides is not confined by time or physical location. They are aware of your karmic trends, your deepest-seated habits, and the strengths and vulnerabilities you have accrued over endless lifetimes. Consequently, their guidance is so remarkably accurate and potent when you learn how to accept it. But wait, because now comes an insight that may account for many experiences you've had and perhaps dismissed as simple happenstance. Allan Kardec documented in the Medium's book that spiritual communication occurs across different levels, from the most elusive to the most obvious. Most people receive first-degree communications, inspirations, hunches, premonitions, and meaningful dreams. However, some individuals, thanks to a natural or developed mediumistic ability, can receive much more immediate and tangible communications. Chico Xavier was an outstanding illustration of conscious and regulated mediumship, able to receive entire dictations from high-level spirits for over 60 years. For more than 6 decades, Chico Xavier acted as a clear instrument, an unstained conduit, allowing thousands of spirits to connect with their living family members. His psychographies not only delivered solace to grieving hearts, but also provided divine direction and, most essentially, undeniable evidence of the spirit's continuation after physical death. The most significant aspect of these messages, however, is that they invariably served a high purpose: to enlighten, comfort, and uplift. In the book Letters from a Deceased, channeled by Chico Xavier, the Spirit Maria João de Deus tenderly describes how, from the spirit world, she watches over and guides her living relatives. She explains that every tear shed out of love, every prayer offered with genuine feeling, and every kind act performed here on earth reaches them as a beacon of light, a source of profound happiness. This brings us to a core understanding, a truth that will liberate you from fear. Our deceased loved ones are not lost, gone or forgotten. They persist in a dimension parallel to our own and, under specific conditions, are capable of expressing their presence and affection. Edgar Cayce confirmed this teaching, likening death to a simple shift, like moving from one room into another. Consciousness, individual character, recollections, and most importantly, love all remain completely whole. The sole distinction is that they are no longer restricted by a dense physical form. But here is an insight that will permanently redefine your relationship with deceased loved ones. According to the spiritualist doctrines systematized by Allan Kardec, you possess the capacity to connect with your departed family and friends. How? Through earnest prayer, thoughts rooted in love, and most importantly, by upholding a high moral standard that allows them to draw near to you. Pay close attention to this. Lower-level spirits, those still confined by the heavy vibrations of hostility, retribution, compulsive habits, and pessimism, are drawn in by those same vibrational frequencies. However, elevated spirits, including your guides and cherished relatives, are attracted to superior frequencies: unconditional affection, deep thankfulness, true forgiveness, selfless benevolence, and pure prayer. Divaldo Franco explains that when you uplift your thoughts and emotions, you establish a flawless resonance, a frequency that allows radiant beings to approach. It's like adjusting a radio dial to tune into a station that is clearer and more harmonious. In a few moments, I will disclose the precise methodology Allan Kardec taught for establishing a conscious, unmistakable connection with your spiritual guides. But first, you need to hear about a remarkable case that showcased the immense power of this link. Prepare yourself for a story that will make you believe in the unbelievable. Faith and unbelievable rescue. In 1938, a Brazilian family was facing ruin. The father had lost his job, crushing debt was piling up, and one of their children was critically ill with no hope for recovery. The mother, a woman of deep faith familiar with spiritualist teachings, began to pray daily with unwavering commitment, requesting guidance from her spiritual mentor. During a week, she had the same recurring vivid dream. A radiant figure showed her a particular house in a neighborhood she barely knew. The figure directed her to go there on a specific day and at a precise hour. Although the request seemed peculiar, an inner prompting compelled her to follow the guidance. Upon arriving at the designated location, she encountered an elderly woman who had just posted a sign looking for a trustworthy family to manage her property while she traveled. The older woman required the exact services that this struggling family could provide: housekeeping, yard work, and pet care. But the incredible events didn't stop there. The elderly woman was a retired pharmacist who, upon learning of the sick child's condition, not only gave them the required medication at no charge, but also connected them with a medical specialist who agreed to treat the boy completely free of cost. This family directly experienced how our spiritual guides can coordinate seemingly impossible circumstances to rescue us during times of critical need. However, this only works when you maintain steadfast faith. Keep thankfulness in your heart, and crucially, when your intentions are sincere and your heart is receptive to goodness. Allan Kardec clarified in the Spirit's book that our spiritual mentors have a perfect grasp of our genuine needs, not just our fleeting, surface desires. They see the entire picture of your existence and understand which experiences are essential for your spiritual development, even if you don't grasp them in the moment. This is why sometimes your prayers appear to go unanswered in the way you hoped. It is not because your guides cannot hear you. It is because their higher wisdom allows them to distinguish between what you wish for and what you truly require for your advancement. Edgar Cayce taught that our temporary material wishes are often in direct opposition to our eternal spiritual necessities. Your spiritual mentors will consistently prioritize your soul's progress over your immediate, temporary comfort. This is not a suggestion that you should resign yourself to hardship or deficiency. It means you must learn to rely completely on the supreme wisdom of beings who love you unconditionally and who see far beyond what your physical eyes can detect. Now brace yourself, because the technique I promised you is about to be revealed. Allan Kardec's 3 pillars of communication. Here is the technique I guaranteed, the precise protocol that Allan Kardec, following years of intense research with the most evolved spirits, designed to establish a conscious, clear communication with your spiritual guides. This technique rests upon 3 essential pillars, core principles that anyone, without exception, can utilize to open this sacred channel. The first foundation is the cleansing of both your surroundings and your mind. Before attempting any kind of spiritual connection, it is crucial that you establish a refuge of tranquility and balance around you. This involves removing all distractions, switching off every electronic device that links you to the world's clamor, and most vitally, purifying your own thoughts of any negative energy that could pollute the communication link. Chico Xavier always, without fail, began his mediumistic sittings with prayers of thanks and requests for safeguarding from the higher spirits. He taught that sincere prayer is more than just a plea. It functions like a strong light that draws in enlightened beings and automatically pushes away any adverse influence. The second pillar is setting the appropriate intention. Allan Kardec strongly stressed that you must never seek spiritual communication purely out of idle curiosity, or even worse, to gain self-serving material benefits. Contact with the spirit world must always be for a lofty purpose, a noble aim, your moral development, finding comfort during deep sorrow, or receiving guidance to serve your fellow man better. Higher spirits will only communicate when they detect unshakable sincerity in your motives, and when they know that the message will genuinely contribute to your spiritual advancement or that of others. The third and final pillar is the disciplined exercise of patience and persistence. Spiritual communication is not like making an immediate phone call. It demands time, commitment, steady practice, and most importantly, the slow cultivation of your spiritual sensitivity. Divaldo Franco explains that many individuals give up after just a few attempts because they are expecting spectacular and immediate demonstrations. However, genuine spiritual communication evolves gradually. Like a flower unfolding petal by petal, it begins with small insights, subtle hunches, and meaningful dreams. With consistent time and correct application, this connection becomes more lucid and steady, but it will always maintain its subtle nature, respecting your free will. Edgar Cayce cultivated his remarkable mediumistic ability through years of daily deep meditation, sincere prayer, and selfless service to others. He taught that the growth of spiritual abilities is an organic process that happens when you keep your thoughts and deeds in harmony with higher standards. But here comes a critical caution, one that Allan Kardec emphasized and that you must permanently impress upon your mind. The crucial warning: discernment and purity. Is the vital warning Allan Kardec highlighted, one you absolutely cannot disregard. You should never seek spiritual communication without adequate moral preparation and the explicit safeguard of higher spirits. The spirit world is immense and varied, encompassing entities at every stage of development. Lower spirits, those still rooted in darkness, may attempt to interrupt communications conducted without proper care, aiming to exploit the sincerity of individuals. Therefore, Allan Kardec established specific guidelines for safe and effective mediumistic communication. The first and foremost is that every communication must start with an earnest prayer, requesting God's protection and that of the elevated spirits. The second is that you must meticulously scrutinize the content of any message you receive. High-level spirits, always and without exception, deliver teachings that uplift the soul, soothe the heart, and build moral character. Chico Xavier received hundreds of messages weekly, but he only channeled those that successfully passed a rigorous screening process. The message had to be saturated with love, wisdom, and constructive direction. Any communication that conveyed negative, vindictive material or encouraged destructive habits was instantly discarded. This power of discernment is absolutely essential for anyone hoping to establish a conscious link with the spiritual realm. Higher spirits never issue commands, never make threats, and never promote actions that could harm you or others. Divaldo Franco teaches that an authentic message from elevated spirits always will instill in you a feeling of deep peace, renewed optimism, and an intense desire to become a better person. If a supposed spiritual communication leaves you confused, frightened, or with destructive urges, reject it immediately. Now, I will share something that can transform your daily life in a way you've never considered. Living in a field of divine signals, once you establish a conscious and secure connection with your spiritual guides, your daily life transforms into a field of divine indicators. You begin to notice their direction in seemingly ordinary circumstances, the kind you previously overlooked, that sudden gut feeling that makes you alter your driving route and avoid an impending traffic accident, that premonition that prevents you from entering into a business deal you later realize would have been financially disastrous, that sudden inspiration that prompts you to contact someone who desperately needed your support at that very moment. All of these are clear demonstrations of how your spiritual guides work tirelessly to protect, direct, and help you fulfill your purpose in this life. But for this to work effectively, you need to cultivate what Allan Kardec called spiritual docility or teachability. Spiritual docility does not imply being passive or lacking your own judgment. It means being open to accepting higher guidance without allowing your personal pride or preconceived notions to interfere. It means acknowledging that there are beings wiser than you who are ready to assist, provided you remain receptive. Edgar Cayce explained that humility is the master key that unlocks the doors to spiritual communication. When you admit your limitations and sincerely ask for help, You establish the perfect conditions to receive higher direction. However, humility must be balanced with discernment. You must be humble enough to accept guidance, but also sufficiently wise to distinguish between authentic messages from elevated spirits and possible meddling from less evolved entities. Chico Xavier developed this capacity for discernment. Through decades of deep study of the spiritualist doctrine and mediumistic practice under the direction of experienced spiritual mentors, he consistently underscored that doctrinal knowledge is vital for safe and effective mediumship. This is why Allan Kardec so strongly urged the importance of study. The Spirit's Book and the Medium's Book are not just informative texts. They are practical guides that ready you for a conscious and positive relationship with the Spirit. World Divaldo Franco adds to this teaching by explaining that doctrinal study must always be paired with the application of the moral principles it imparts. It is not sufficient to merely understand spiritual laws intellectually. You must actively live them out daily. This leads us to the most crucial aspect of all spiritual communication, its ultimate goal. The purpose of all spiritual communication must invariably be your moral development and your capacity to serve others more effectively. Higher spirits do not reach out to you to satisfy your curiosity or to solve your superficial material issues. They communicate to help you evolve spiritually, to propel you toward your genuine divine nature. Every piece of advice you receive from your spiritual guides comes with an unavoidable responsibility to use that guidance for your personal improvement and to help other human beings on their evolutionary path. Edgar Cayce always deployed his exceptional mediumistic gifts to help those who were sick, confused, or struggling. He never sought personal gain or human renown. His life teaches us that spiritual gifts are talents that you must place in the service of the collective good. This is what separates authentic spiritual communication from fraud or the commercialization of the sacred. Genuine mediums like Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco always practiced their abilities free of charge as an expression of pure, loving service to mankind. Allan Kardec established this rule as fundamental. Give freely what you have freely received. Mediumistic abilities are gifts bestowed by the Creator upon certain individuals to act as tools of connection between the visible and invisible realms. When these abilities are bought, sold, or used for self-centered purposes, they lose their holy nature and can attract lower spiritual influences that seek to take advantage of people's trust. This is why it is so important that anyone interested in developing communication with the spiritual world consistently maintains pure and unselfish motives. Higher spirits only collaborate with instruments who demonstrate sincerity, humility, and a genuine desire to serve others. The promise of perfection. As we reach the peak of this revelation, I want to share with you the most beautiful assurance that the spiritualist teachings offer us. Here is the most exquisite promise, the truth that will fill you with hope and meaning. Every one of us has a magnificent destiny, spiritual perfection. It does not matter how far you believe yourself to be from reaching that goal. No matter how many mistakes you have made in the past, your spiritual guides are aware of your inherent divine capacity, your God spark, and they are working patiently, without pause, to help you bring it forth. Every challenge you encounter is not a punishment. It is an opportunity for development. Every sorrow you conquer is not wasted. It builds your inner strength. Every loving action you perform brings you closer to your true spiritual nature. Allan Kardec taught us that reincarnation is the most profound expression of divine justice and compassion. We all receive countless opportunities to learn, to make amends for past errors, and to foster the virtues we still lack. And in each of these lifetimes, your spiritual guides are present, attending to you with boundless, unconditional love. Edgar Cayce confirmed that every soul has a unique blueprint for each incarnation, and our spiritual guides have complete knowledge of this plan. They know which experiences you require, which individuals you need to cross paths with, and which lessons you must absorb. Therefore, you can place your complete trust in their direction, knowing that everything that occurs to you serves an educational and evolutionary goal. Even the toughest trials are designed to develop in you qualities like unwavering patience, deep empathy, liberating forgiveness, and spiritual resilience. Divaldo Franco reminds us of a freeing truth. We are eternal spirits undergoing a temporary human experience. This viewpoint entirely shifts how we engage with life's difficulties. We cease being victims of circumstance and become conscious students in the school of spiritual evolution, and our spiritual guides are our most compassionate teachers in this school. They never forsake us, never pass judgment, never lose faith in our capacity for growth. Their love for us is unconditional and eternal. The communication with them is available for every human being who seeks it with sincerity and purity of intentions. It is not a special privilege reserved for a select few. It is an inherent right of every embodied soul that desires to grow spiritually and serve its fellow humans better. Start today by paying attention to the subtle signals around you. Thank your spiritual guides mentally for their constant attendance. Ask for their direction during your critical decisions. Keep your heart welcoming toward love and your mind receptive to higher knowledge. You will observe how your life gradually changes, not necessarily in financial terms, but in something far more precious: inner serenity, a sense of life's purpose and the capacity to love unconditionally, because this is the greatest desire of your spiritual guides for you, that you discover the divinity you hold within and express it through your thoughts, speech, and deeds. Your spiritual guide is speaking to you right now. The signs are present. Now you possess the knowledge to identify them.